What's up YouTube? Una here to bring you another OPTC video, and today we're going to be doing the new Bridal Nami Fortnite, which Lola's a decent character. You're more than welcome to farm for her. I'm probably not going to. I think she's a character that seems great in theory, but I never really used her in Japan. But this Fortnite is limited to Slasher and Cerebrals, so whenever there are these limitations, I thought I'd just go through a quick little team build for you guys to see if that would help you put your teams together. So I thought I'd throw out a couple of free-to-play options, as well as maybe like some how I'd make the teams better if you had some rare recruits. So first, let's start with our free-to-play slashers. Slashers are probably the way for most of you guys to go. Slashers are so accessible. There's tons of int slashers. You got some stallers. I just think it makes sense. I'd recommend kind of like the Mihawk lead, the double Mihawk. He pushes through just fine. You don't want to take too many hits from Nami, and since you don't have Usopp to stall, you want to do a lot of damage quickly. I would actually probably recommend rocking the Coffin Boat for this team. Coffin Boat, if you don't have it, go get it. Of course, there is... Look how many Slasher Cerebrals we have on this team. We've got Croc to kind of... I don't know, his special is not really needed. He's really just there for the damage as an int B-stick. I do like him. His special is very, very useful for when you come up against the Nami and Absalom version of the final round, because Absalom will blind you and Nami hits every turn, so it's good to kind of get at least one more turn where you can take out Nami, and then you should be able to take out Absalom on the next turn. And then, of course, Calgara is very... I always call this guy Calgara. It drives me nuts. Noland is great for boosting orbs, and they all have pretty low cooldowns. I've got him on 13. I got him on 9, and he's on 18, so I don't really use this guy. I usually finish this round maybe 9, 10, 11 turns, somewhere around there. Great team to push through. This is free to play. I have him just in case you run into the secret stage, but the problem is sometimes you can run into that secret stage on stage 2 where he'll kind of bind and despair everybody. So I don't know. I've been using him, and then just... You know, there's some rounds that have 6 units that his 6 combos useful for taking out like the turtles, which you kind of have to time when you attack those turtles and stuff like that. You could totally replace him with kind of like a Kuro who would do extra damage against Lola, who's a strength unit or something like that. Where's my Kuro? Kuro's... Actually, I think I have Kuro on another team. So let's just go to the next team where I'll show you Kuro. So this is my free-to-play Cerebral option, right? So this is the free-to-play slashers. I've been using this, and I think this team is probably the fastest for me. I think it's a little bit risky since I don't have a double staller. I do want to point out that if you were having problems with this, you know, and obviously, I don't know if you should ever really plan for the secret stage, but the secret stage can be quite painful with level 3 despair. But what you could do, and probably a more consistent option overall, would be to come over here and get Halloween Zoro, who is a slasher as well, and just use a double staller, one for secret stage, and then one for the final boss. At least he is boosted attack, and he's got 3 sockets, which you can usually help fill up with like cooldown or auto heal, kind of like what I did with my Zoro here. So just another option for you guys. The free-to-play Cerebral option I really recommend is Momonga. The Buster Calls come out twice, so you don't need to stall for his special. His special is quite high, and I didn't really gem for the Buster Call Fortnite just because I never really use him, and it's not really worth it for gemming for this Fortnite because this Fortnite's not too hard. Breed, his Fortnite was just out, and he's a fantastic unit. 14 cooldowns is pretty decent, but you generally don't get there. But that's going to be our next team. But his special is useful if you want to stall for it. And as we talked about, Mr. 3 is welcome on every team in this Fortnite, as is Nolan. And then I brought Kuro. Kuro's a pretty good unit for this team to finish your attacks against Lola. So you will take a lot of damage, potentially from Nami, depending on how the secret stage goes. And this isn't necessarily... I do run speed teams for this, speed runs for this, but you might want to actually slow down and maybe stall for some specials here. Yeah, I just don't feel like it. I'd rather just run it. I haven't died yet with this team, but it's it's only just come out. But yeah, it's you do get hit a decent amount with this team. And then finally, this team I've been playing too. I find this team pretty successful. What this is I wish he wasn't evolved. See how he's a cost of 30? His unevolved one's under 20, and then he gets boosted as well. I just pulled him in this last Zuga Fest. But then you team him up with a Sengoku lead. So him and so he gets a 2.5 attack boost for characters under 30. you know, and it's under 20 if he's the unevolved version, and then Sengoku. So then you can just build a team of cost of 20 and under units. So you know, I used Kuro here. Since this isn't limited to just Cerebral, I'm going to bring our friend Lucci here, who's going to do more damage. And of course, we've already talked about him. What makes him different with a Sengoku team is that he will his cooldown's reduced, right? So he only has a 12 cooldown. If you had 2 Sengokus, which is even better, you'd have a 10 cooldown, which is totally a lot more usable. And of course, him with a, I mean, so I have the cooldown sockets for this team, level 1. So he would actually start at 8 minus 4 if you had 2 Sengokus, and he's got a 4 cooldown. That's really, really, really useful for this Fortnite. So I really, really, really like Sengoku for this Fortnite. If you don't have him, he's our new option to kind of team up well with Sengoku and still get himself a burst. I just wish I hadn't evolved him. I actually pulled him unevolved and evolved, and I fed, as you can see, the unevolved version to him, and I just facepalm when I did that. I wish I hadn't done that, because then he could have gotten boosted as well. So those are the teams that I'd recommend for the Nami Fortnite. So let's get into it, guys. Alright, so sometimes this first stage, all these units will be on a 1-turn cooldown, which kind of sucks. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the unevolved, or not unevolved, unboosted Chopper on like a slasher team. You could potentially take all the units out, but you're most likely going to... Oh gosh, auto-target! Why are you targeting 3 cooldown evolvers when there's 2 units that are getting ready to attack? So screw you, are your auto-target. So we're going to have to slow our run down. Usually, if you're just running just straight Cerebral like this, you can kind of plan on taking like 1 hit from Nami along with like a Mr. 3 cooldown or special to delay her 1 round. It usually takes about 3 rounds with like no boosts. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to get some int orbs, and we'll need to boost them with Nolan here. So if you take any hits, you kind of need to stall a little bit, which is just really frustrating. Like, what is the auto? Okay, that is like one of the biggest things I would change with this game. Is probably the auto target, where I would let players even like. So I get the skill thing. Like, you know, you want to let players kind of manually select targets, but you should be able to choose priority too. Like, it's like you should be able to choose evolvers always first, you know, per round or whatever. So I just don't get what. See, I mean, again, like, why are you targeting the 2 thing here? So just really broken auto targeting in my opinion, and then you can't do anything about it. You can't program it and say like, oh, we'll target the evolvers first, which I would totally do for this Fortnite. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what Bandai does half the time. But, well, actually, let's talk about that. What other things would you change with the game? I think the game's great. I love it. This is by no means a complaint. But, you know, if you guys play other games, you know, there's some things that you're like, oh, that's a nice feature. I wish this other game had that feature. Let's talk about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. If you guys have played that, that is... Oh, I love that game. I love Star Wars. But what's really cool about that is once you beat a level... like by a certain amount. So the way they calculate it is if a character dies, because I mean they don't have an overall health meter like you do here. Like, you know, if you clear it by a certain amount, then what you can use, you get sim tickets every day, and you can buy sim tickets. And what those do is you can just click, you know, auto simulate this level this many times, and it just runs it. So that way you can farm via these sim tickets. And the first time I heard this, I thought that was just like a horrible idea. I was like, oh well, that takes away all the skill. But the reality is like, if let's say you were playing this level and you clear it with like no damage, and let's say you do over 2 million damage to Nami, right? Like, it's not easy to do 2 million damage to any character. Well, in that case, why wouldn't you reward the user to allow them to do some kind of like auto simulated win? I just think there's some kind of like, you know, thing that would just help out with farming there. And maybe I could show you guys a clip of what that looks like here at the end of this video. But that would be the one big thing I'd change. I would change the auto target, and then most importantly, okay, so if I were to pick 3 things, is when you're filtering through the characters, I want to search. Let me just type in Sanji and see all the Sanji units. Let me type in Cerebral, and it shows me all the Cerebral units. The fact that Cerebral sometimes in Class 1, sometimes Class 2, that filtering by Cerebral is so broken. It's stupid how dumb it is. So I think those are probably the biggest things that I would change about this game. And they're not gripes, they're just things that would improve the experience. You know, and a lot of these games, they give you a certain number of gems each day, etc., etc. So I guess we're hey, by the way, use Kuro or your blue slasher to finish off your attacks on Lola. Haha. By the way, let's talk about this game. And then when you get to this stage, this is probably the rarest of all the ones to find. I guess I should take a picture of this. I sometimes forget to do that for the wiki. But usually you run into Nami by yourself, in which case, you know, every time she goes down, she does more damage. If you run into her with Absalom, he blinds you, and it's the same thing where she does damage. He hits for about 6,000. And this is our version. Well, Absalom, every time he shows up, he blinds you. You can see that we've got a boost here from Breed. We've got, oh, I did Breed first. I wonder if that overrides Momonga. I wonder if all my Cerebrals will get a boost. So in order, I think Nami is most dangerous, then Absalom, then Sanji. So just take them out in that order would be my recommendation. Yeah, other than that, you know, this isn't too hard, guys. This is a pretty decent Fortnite that, I don't know, I think you guys will be able to clear with just like a straight Cerebral team. I don't find it too difficult, and particularly with Breed and with Nolan, like the two of them together, they're buddies. They hang out, they make a good friend team. And if you're running, obviously, slashers here, double Mihawk lead would just crush these guys. So really, really easy Fortnite. Just, again, it comes back to team building. You know, if you want to stall for those specials, you can see that you can just absolutely crush this. If you're going through a speed run, it could be difficult. Sometimes you can't necessarily get Nami out right away. But I really, really, really like this team, and this is the team that I would definitely push forward, and it is free to play. Obviously, you can upgrade any unit that does more damage or helps manipulate orbs or deal more damage, and it'll work just fine. Like, this isn't a raid where it's very, very difficult. So let's jump over to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I'll show you that real quick. So what we're looking at here is kind of like the story mode version for this game, and I just want to show you the sim thing, which I think is really cool. But so like these are the missions that I haven't completed yet. This is like mission 3. I haven't even started it yet. But so for the first mission, I only cleared it with 2 stars, which means I had a character die. Let's say in Treasure Cruise, let's say like I didn't do enough damage, like 2 million damage or something like that. And I don't know, I just think it's a good idea. I don't know if it needs to be for raids, but I think for Fortnites, I totally want this. But you'll see in the lower right-hand corner, there's this multi-sim button. It says, you know, if I click it, it says sim tickets can only be used once you've mastered it, once you've done 3 stars. So if I wanted to battle here, I can click the battle button, and I pick, you know, my friend Captain, and then I go to battle with them. But, you know, for this level, I cleared it with 3 stars, meaning I didn't lose any characters. If I click the multi-sim button here, you see this pops up. It says, you know, how many sims do you want to run? You can see the lightning, that's the essential of stamina in OPTC. I've only got 8, so I can only do 1 run. But I just click that button, it runs, and then boom, here's what dropped. I got a piece of equipment. And I just really, really like that, because there's sometimes that, especially when these clashes happen, I know you guys have to feel the same way, where when the clashes have opened, you're done, you're just like, I don't want to play anymore. Like, I just need to put my life on pause. Like, I'm gonna go a whole day with actually just not playing Treasure Cruise, because I'm just Treasure Cruised out. Maybe you're not. Maybe you keep playing it, but that's how I feel sometimes. Where it's just like sometimes it's a negative feeling, and you don't want your game to have a negative feeling, I feel like. So that would be, you know, one of the big improvements I'd have would be kind of the introduction of sim tickets if you can clear it with a certain skill level. So you know, that's how you do Nami. It's not too hard, guys. You really just kind of use those boosters, and you're gonna wipe the floor with the final stage. So good luck with your farming, guys. Una out.